Greetings and welcome to the channel. Today we're on our way to a place called down Ampney in Gloucestershire. The reason I'm going there is of course because there's a church there, but also the church relates to the British composer Ralph Vaughan-Williams, who was born in the vicarage in Down Ampney in I think 1873 from memory. I'll check it out when we get there. So we're about a mile from it. I thought I'd film the route in. I've got the camera mounted on a hat, so I'm hoping we'll actually see more of the scenery and less of the roof of the car. We shall see. It was 27 degrees when I started off, so I've just got basically a vest on, and we've had lightning and some rain, and I think the temperature is going to plummet to a chilly 22 degrees centigrade. I mean, it's still meant to be quite hot, but it's really muggy today, so I might have made a mistake with my attire, but never mind. Quite excited to go to the church. I actually went to the church before I started the channel, but I took photographs at that time but no videos, so I'm going back to video it. And I didn't get to see the vicarage last time, although I have seen it in the past, so I shall show you the vicarage. It may even be on screen now, I don't know, depends how I edit it. Right, so the church will be on our right there, I think. I don't know, actually. It's been a while. I'll just have to park over and let someone pass me. A moment. I think I've actually gone too far, so I'll turn around. Clunking his gears. Beautiful driving, beautiful. Now I think, yeah, we're at the old vicarage. This is where Vaughan-Williams was actually born. I'll get out the car and we can have a proper look. I'll just park up properly. Oh, smuggy out here. Right. So this is the old vicarage where Ralph Vaughan-Williams was born in, as I say, 1873, I think. And Ralph Vaughan-Williams' father was actually the vicar at the church we're about to visit. And apparently he died, I think it's 1877, I'll check my details. He was actually visiting a sick villager, and I believe he became sick himself and died. So what happened is Ralph's mother moved to Leith House, which is now a National Trust property. I'll put a picture on so you can see it. I've been there actually, and I've touched his piano that I think he wrote possibly the Lark Ascending on, I'm not sure. Anyhow, this is the vicarage and I'll drive to the church. I was going to walk from here, but given the weather I shall drive. It's a little bit of a walk. So it's a bit of a dead giveaway where the church is, because we have to turn down Church Lane. It's in quite a nice setting, I think. There's a large house behind it, as you'll see. Sorry about the noise of my wiper blades. They work all right, they're just rather noisy. As you'll see, I'm still filming on my head camera. There's a rather large house next to the church. We can park here. Done it before. We're here, right. I shall switch over to my smartphone in a moment. See you in a minute. Well, it's raining out here, so I won't linger too long, but just to clarify the correct date of the birth of Ralph, the composer, it was October the 12th, 1872, so I was a year out. So Ralph Vaughan-Williams composed the Lark Ascending and the music for the hymn Come Down, O Divine, down Ampney, to honour the village of his birth. And his father was the parish vicar. What I forgot to say is he's actually buried in the churchyard. His father, that is, not Ralph. So we'll have a look at that if we can. Apparently it's near the east transept. Right. I think we'll head inside first. It should be open, I think. Just go through the lynch gate. Very low gate. To bend down, almost grovel to open it. It's a bit strange. Hadn't noticed that before. I know there's quite a large display of information to do with Vaughan-Williams actually in the church. I think he was actually christened at the font in this church, and the vicar, I think it was a different vicar, dropped him, but his mother managed to stop him from hitting the ground by grabbing onto his christening cloth, I think, or christening robe, something like that. That's what I read. It must be true if I read it. Not raining too bad. Give it a quick look here, but I'll probably be using the pictures. Actually, the pictures I took were probably inside the church, so I'll have to take some pictures here of the exterior just to be sure I've got them, and I'll show you what I can. Let's take a... Excuse me, I'm talking to the dead. I said I'd go inside, didn't I? But there's a bit of a lull in the raining, so I'll film this while I can. I was just about to say that as the weather's improved, we'll go around the outside. And then it seemed like it started to rain again. But maybe not. Just a smattering, so we'll carry on around. But if I dive inside very suddenly, you'll realise it started chucking it down. You'll see it anyhow. What am I saying? So these are quite old and worn details here, and it's clearly been improved, no doubt by the Victorians here. Nice crisp stonework, and back to the weathered stonework below. But I wasn't going inside yet. Right, let's head round. Look at the tower. Looks like it had a steeple added as a later addition. It's lovely and sunny now. Weather doesn't know what it wants to do. Not masses here, a couple of gargoyles I think. difficult to photograph the gargoyles from this angle. The light is against me. And I intend to visit another 2 churches today, so I'm not hanging about any longer than I need to or that I desire to. Yep, a silhouette by the looks of things. It's like a memorial garden here. I haven't been round here, so I definitely didn't do the exterior when I last came. I don't recognise this. It's clearly been here a while. RF Garden of Remembrance, down Ampney. The path was laid in memory of Ina Faber, née Logan, WAF, which is Women's Auxiliary Air Force, who was stationed here in 1944-5 and who loved this village. It's interesting looking at some of the remembrance plaques here that you've got. Some of the descriptions of what they did. Air ambulance nurse. I'm not sure what CAEC means. Looks like a flight something. I can't read it. There's air ambulance. Another air ambulance nurse. And there's some other remembrance stuff over here. Air Dispatch Roll of Honour. Operation Market Garden, September 1944. Some of you may have seen the wonderful film that they've made to do with Operation Market Garden. Just head into the corner of the graveyard to have another look at the exterior from this side. Now I'm wondering where Ralph's father's grave is. It's meant to be on the east transept, which should be over here, shouldn't it? But whether it's readable now. There may be some identifying features inside that we can look at. So I'll look inside, see if I can find out from the information, and we can always nip back out here. Ah, I found it. Arthur Charles Vaughan-Williams, the father of Ralph Vaughan-Williams, who was the vicar of Down Ampney. He died on February the 9th, 1875, aged 40 years. Right, so let us go inside. All Saints Church is usually open between 10 AM and 4 PM each day. It should be unlocked during these hours. The door sometimes sticks. Please do give it a good push. Oh, that's fine. Oh, it's nice and cool in here. Rather a relief from the mugginess that's outside. Unless there's another font. This would have been the font that Vaughan-Williams was christened at. And indeed there seems to be a panel on here. Yeah, this is the font where the composer Ralph Vaughan-Williams was baptised on the 1st of December 1872. His father, the Reverend Arthur Vaughan-Williams, invited the Reverend Hyde Beedon, vicar of the neighbouring village of Latton, to perform the ceremony. He dropped baby Ralph, and it was only the quick action of his mother, who grabbed the long skirts of his christening dress, that prevented the poor little chap from crashing to the stone floor. There are no further records of Reverend Hyde Beedon taking any more baptisms in Down Ampney. You can understand why. Look at the light in the window there. That's beautiful, isn't it? And whether the baby Vaughan-Williams would have been aware of that colour or those colours and put those colours into his orchestral compositions later on, who knows? As an untrained composer myself, who knows where inspiration comes from? I've often amazed myself at what I've been able to do, having written orchestral works myself without any musical guidance really, just my own blunderings. It seemed to work quite well. Still, that's what the Beatles did, didn't they? Blundered around with chords, liked what they heard, and the world enjoyed them too. Unless I haven't had the same fate with my music. Never mind. Perhaps I've been saved for better things, or protected from the nonsense that goes with that sort of stuff. I quite like the poppy sort of almost prints on the archways. They're quite delightful. Whether that was a tribute to those that died in the First World War, I don't know. Here's Ralph as a young man. Looking quite handsome there, I think. In later life he was quite obese, but apparently he was quite a magnet to women. They loved being around him. So this is the information panel relating to Vaughan-Williams. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information there. I think I'll have a go at taking pictures again just to be sure I've got everything. I don't want to get home and think, oh, I missed that. Of course, Ralph Vaughan-Williams was a great friend of Gustav Holst. They'd actually met at the Royal College of Music. Holst was actually brought up in Gloucestershire. I've been to his house there. It's under private ownership of the Holst Society, and touched the piano that he composed the planets on, and they used to do walks together in the Malvern Hills. And also he was the organist at a place called Lower Risington, which is near Bybury in Gloucestershire. I intend to visit there sometime in the future. I can't visit there sometime in the past. Vaughan-Williams was a friend of George Butterworth, whose music I much admire. Butterworth was killed in the First World War, and Butterworth left all his scores that survived to Vaughan-Williams because they were both keen at gathering folk songs. Ralph was related to Erasmus Darwin and also Joshua Wedgwood. Vaughan-Williams' first wife, Adeline, looked very similar to her cousin, Virginia Woolf, of course was an author. Ralph studied with Maurice Ravel in Paris in 1907-1908, I think. The most famous piece probably by Vaughan-Williams is the Fantasia on a theme of Thomas Tallis, which was actually first heard on the 6th of September at the Three Choirs Festival, actually in Gloucester Cathedral, which Harry Potter fans will be aware of some of the interior. Probably my favourite piece by Vaughan-Williams is The Lark Ascending, which evokes the lark, I think at dawn. It's beautiful. This is a picture of Ralph Vaughan-Williams and his second wife, Ursula Wood, in 1938. It's actually a lovely picture of her, and probably the best picture I've seen of her. She went on to write a book about him and has taken part in various films to do with his life. This is the last photo of Gustav Holst. Now, Vaughan-Williams was very reliant on Holst for feedback on his compositions because he had a deep respect for him. Also shown here is a picture of Arnold Bax and Harriet Cohen, who was a pianist that he spent a long time having an affair with. Arnold Bax's music I know very well, and what is interesting about Arnold Bax is his brother Clifford Bax was the person who suggested to Holst that he do some music relating to the planets. In 1934, before the first performance of the symphony, his close friend Gustav Holst had died. Ralph said, "My only thought is now that whichever way I turn, what are we to do without him? Everything seems to have turned back to him. What would Gustav think or advise to do?" So we'll head to the chancel where the Reverend Vaughan-Williams would have been. But before we get there, we'll go into the pulpit he would have stood in. So it seems there are steps here to the rood loft, which we're not allowed to go up, of course. So we shall descend and look in the chancel now. And I keep saying that, and then I see other things. I'm sure I didn't take a photo of that when I was last here, so I should do that. But whether that's because I'm getting a bit old, I don't know. A bit senile. Don't remember that either. I've been to a lot of churches though now. Arthur Vaughan-Williams was vicar of Down Ampney from 1868 to 1875. His memorial window depicts the resurrection, as well as being a devoted and hard-working parish priest. Took an interest in the village school, teaching scripture and gardening. He died at 41, leaving a wife Margaret, a daughter Meggie, and sons Harvey and Ralph. The latter would become of England's greatest composers. The schoolmaster's logbook gives the only account of Arthur's death. February the 9th, 1975. Today at 3:35 p.m, our manager, the Reverend A.V. Williams, died after an illness which only began in the morning of the 7th. He had been ailing for some time, but for the few days before he was taken ill, he was in unusually good health and spirits. There will be no more night school in consequence of his death. He will be greatly missed and lamented in our village. It's a very dark reredo in this slide. But look at this beautiful stained glass window, which looks pretty modern, on this side. And the reflection on the floor, covered a bit by the carpet. Well, I'm not sure whether Vaughan-Williams came back here. I mean, he wrote music to do with the place, but whether he ever got the opportunity to revisit here. But it's interesting to think that if he did, he probably would have had to go on the organ. I know I would have. Maybe it says somewhere that he did so. If anyone knows, let me know. Or let anyone else who might be viewing this channel know. Thank you. These effigies are of Sir Nicholas de Villers or de Villiers and his wife Margaret. Sir Nicholas was awarded the manor of Down Ampney in by Edmund Crutchback, Earl of Lancashire, in 1250. Edmund was the second son of Henry III and lived at Kempsford. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. The dark clouds have gone. It's still muggy, but at least it's sunny. Off my way to another church now, and then probably another one after that. As I was leaving the church, I thought I'd go and get my lunch and sit on this bench here. And I was alerted to a beautiful sign on here which says, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly, which I think is quite beautiful. Bye for now.